More injuries, a new starter, Demeco Ryans talks, Will Anderson speaks, so many things to get into, such little time, plus the must-win theory kind of gets leg hiked. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah, it's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city.
More injuries for the Texans, a new starter, lots of possibilities. Will Anderson, is he that dude? Demeco Ryans speaks. He addresses a lot of things, and a must-win game, according to me, but not according to everyone. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 Central on Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. Just got word. Another Texans player is going to join the show tomorrow in the 11 o'clock Central hour, straight off of the practice field. We will know who that player is tomorrow. Be sure to listen, and I will keep you updated. Always fun getting to talk to these guys straight off of the practice field, and it's a really, really big week. I've heard the possibilities, and I think you will be pleased with who we have. Please subscribe, like, right along. Whether you're a Texans fan or not, this is the place to come for the pulse of what's going on. Let's get right into it. Let's get a look at this Texans depth chart that was just dropped today, and we'll get into the injury report as well. And the injury report is important because the depth chart is based on who's on the active roster. So, like, if you see someone that doesn't practice on Tuesday, and I've been educated on this myself, and they're still listed as a starter, a lot of that has to do with because they're on the active roster. So you don't not put them and say that and count them out before. So that's how that works. So let's look at the depth chart first, then we'll look at the injury report, because I think based on that information, I think that's the right way to go about looking into things. So let's start with the depth chart. The Texans put it on their website. No surprise at quarterback, no surprise at running back. Everything pretty much as you would expect, although the Noah Brown situation, there is some news there that we'll get into. The tight end spot is the same. The left tackle spot's the same. The entire O-line actually is the same. But on defense is where we get a surprise. The starting Sam linebacker for the Texans as of right now is Henry To'oTo'o. Coming off a very good rookie debut. Jake Hansen was listed as the starter last week, but Henry To'oTo'o is your starting linebacker at the Sam position, at least for right now. So another rookie starter for the Texans. Henry To'oTo'o is the new starting linebacker at Sam. Now we'll see if Cashman comes back and how that impacts it. Cashman actually did return to the practice field in limited capacity. And Blake Cashman actually had a really, really, really good camp. Before we get into the injury report, the big news today when it comes to injuries, and this could be more significant than we may believe, or we may want to believe. Two guys go on IR. Hassan Ridgeway, one of your defensive linemen, good run stopper, and Noah Brown. Noah Brown, who I kind of think he's unfairly getting some criticism from fans. A lot of it to do with the fact that Bobby Slowick decided to throw him that backward screen in Baltimore. And I think Texans fans, much like many fans, they are not fans of backwards screen. Maybe it's some BOB PTSD. Let's look at the injury report for the Texans heading into the game with the Indianapolis Colts. This is really significant. Again, Brown and Ridgeway go to IR. You have Neville Hewitt not practicing, Jalen Petrie not practicing. Demeco Ryans will give us an update on that shortly. Laramie Tunsil not practicing. That could be just a veteran day off. Jimmy Ward, after not playing last week, he did not practice. A lot of veterans get Wednesdays off. So we'll see what happens with Laramie Tunsil. I think he's fine. He's a guy who really doesn't need a lot of reps. And there are times where he would get veteran off days in camp. Graylin Arnold, limited. That actually might be big if he's not able to go because you're already thin at safety. Blake Cashman returns to the practice field in limited capacity. George Fant, he's on the practice field. That's big. That's your starting right tackle. John Mechie returns. Maybe he could see more action with Noah Brown being out. Then you have Denzel Perriman, limited. Dalton Schultz, Robert Woods, limited, and Dare. Again, when you see an injury report, you tend to overreact. A lot of times Wednesdays are veteran off days. So we'll see how the patterns work. Tomorrow is when we get a better grasp of what's going to be going on there. Be sure to hit the like button. Appreciate Joe for hitting that up. Be sure to like, subscribe, right along, all that type of stuff. But the crowded injury report, not much to make about. Tomorrow's is where it gets really interesting. You get a more clear picture. I anticipate some of those veterans returning, and it's thinning out a little bit, but you will get a clear picture of whether Jimmy Ward's going to play, et cetera. John Mechie back on the practice field. Don't know what exactly that means. The Noah Brown injury means something. I personally think it means we're going to see more of Tank Dell. I think a lot of people probably would have liked to have seen that, whether Noah Brown was on IR or not. But I anticipate more Tank Dell. Demeco Ryans will actually touch on that during his media availability, which we will speak on in a minute. Let's hear from Demeco Ryans. This was Demeco Ryans meeting with the media following the Texans' loss. This is Wednesday. This is where it kind of cranks up. This is actually his best media availability of the week. Tomorrow you hear from the coordinators. Here's Demeco Ryans addressing everything from the challenge of Anthony Richardson to the home crowd to the approach with injuries, as well as at least attempts at getting updates. Here's Demeco Ryans in the locker room.
I think Anthony has done a really good job with the Colts, being a young quarterback. Still has a lot to learn as all rookie quarterbacks, but you can see the athleticism. You can see, he can sling the football. Right? He does a really good job there. So I think he's a young kid who has show a lot of potential, and we have to be on our A game. He does a really good job of, creating on the plays on the move. He can get out of the pocket, scramble. He's very, very big, strong guy, tough guy to get down. So it's going to be a really tough challenge for us physically. He's a tough guy to bring down. So it's going to take all of us, right, swarming to the ball and being on our keys, being on our rules and where we're supposed to be.
All right, this is interesting. So I want to just show this while he answers this. This is the pass chart of Anthony Richardson from Josh Norris. And notice all the passes to the right side, the interceptions to the left. You see the passes right here. They're 5 yards and in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 passes, 6 total out of 37 went to the left and didn't go to the right or center. 1 was intercepted. 2 were incomplete behind the line of scrimmage. Maybe there's a throwaway screens. You had the short touchdown, and then you had the 2 incompletions. So I thought this was a good question by DJ Bieneme, asking Demeco the relevance in that. And here's what Demeco had to say about it.
How much do you factor that in as an aberration? Again, Jordan was to the right side of the field. How much do you factor that as an aberration versus what you
I don't factor in much as where the ball is going, right or left side, because everybody has to be on it, right? If you are covering guys on the right side and he starts to move around the pocket and scramble, no one can be loose in coverage. That's the thing about it. He can make you pay if you're not on it. So it's a matter of everybody across the board, all 11 guys, just being on their job and being disciplined, no matter which side he, favors throwing the ball to. I think when it comes down to it, when you're lined up out there, you're not thinking about that as a defender.
What can you say about an update with Jalen Petrie and what it's been like the last couple of days working through
Yeah, Jalen is in good spirits. He's fine. He's back with us, so we're happy to have him back. Great to see him, back in the building. Just seeing him, the smile on his face. I think that just brightens everyone's day. So it's good to see him back in the building, and he still be day to day. We'll see, where he ends up.
It's gonna be interesting to see that safety spot. They did a good job managing the other day. Whether they get Petrie or Ward or both are out. I think that's one of the things to keep a close eye on, and maybe we get some clarity on that tomorrow. This is the token, like generic as a former linebacker question. The one that you need to ask every player.
You just stick to your
Dan Campbell
fundamentals and rules, and when it comes to tackling, it's not going to be one guy bringing Anthony down. Right? It's going to take multiple guys, multiple hats at the ball, and that's just what we're about on defense. That's our style anyway, but it's going to take multiple guys being there because he's such a strong runner, and we definitely respect his game and what he's put on tape. We have to be prepared for it. Everybody just being disciplined on defense, that will be the key for us this week. Those are the obligatory former player coach questions. Dan Campbell probably gets it. Frank Reich probably gets it, like all the coaches, the obligatory. As a former player, what's it like as the position? We'll hear from Will Anderson a little bit later. John Mechie returned to the practice field. Here's what Demeco had to say about that. It's good having Mechie back out there with us, and Mechie has been working hard to get back, and he's put in the work, and we'll see where he ends up this week, but happy to have him back out there, and we'll see how he progresses throughout the week.
Nico ain't gonna give no practice updates or injury. They are thin at DT now. Without Ridgeway, the Roy Lopez injury, they got 3 right now. There's going to have to be some movement there. Here's Demeco talking about that.
Yeah, we added a couple guys practice squad, and we'll see throughout the week. We have like 3 guys there. We'll see how it goes throughout the week and see who will be on the roster come game day.
You guys built this team through the trenches. You talked about how much you wanted defensive line, offensive line. With all the injuries you guys have had to deal with, how much has that changed your approach or complicated what you wanted to do?
It doesn't change my approach at all when it comes to the offensive line, defensive line. It's still, you have to get it done, right, guys? Whoever we have in the building, guys that are on our team, on our roster, we expect them to just go out and do their job to the best of their ability, right? And that's all they have to do. It's not about one guy. It's just collectively all those guys just playing together, where it's D-line, O-line, everybody being on the same page and playing together, and we can have a really good front on both sides of the ball.
See, I think this is an interesting one. And we'll hear more from Demeco Ryans here in the locker room. Number one source for Texans digital content. Subscribe, all that jazz. Sometimes, you panic and you change your approach whenever you have injuries, and then you're kind of outthinking yourself. You're putting players in weird positions because that's not what they think they're supposed to do. Sometimes, though, you need to adjust because this player can't do what another player can do. It's like when you put Travis Dieter in at right tackle. I don't know what Slowick was thinking. Hopefully he gets asked about that tomorrow when he meets with the media. And you ask him not to block without a tight end or without a running back helping him out. That it doesn't seem like Demeco's going to change the approach. These are a lot of injuries, but he doesn't. When he says it, I seem to believe him. I don't think that Demeco is going to change his approach. I have heard some whispers, people are asking, are these injuries piling up the same way they do in San Francisco because of the way they practice? I'm not buying into that theory that just yet. I think a lot of teams deal with a lot of injuries. I'm not buying into that theory just yet. And quite frankly, if you're going to coach him up, then I think a lot of people will live with it in San Francisco.
After watching the tape, where you see the biggest opportunity for improvement with the offense, one and two?
I think the biggest improvement that I would like to see from the offense is their tempo, just in and out of the huddle, just getting the play calls, getting in and out of the huddle faster, and just playing faster. And that's what I expect to see this week. I think we did some really good things. It's very encouraging to see what CJ did when it comes to throwing the football. You know, he's very talented. Right? We just have to play better around him, and I think we can play better around him just by increasing the tempo and playing with more urgency.
See, I wonder what this means with the tempo. Does this mean they're going to line up faster? Does this mean he wants to get the play in quicker and just go about business as usual? Because there were a couple times where they had to call timeouts because it didn't seem like they knew what was going on. There was a couple times where CJ looked to Robert Woods, and Robert Woods was basically like, nah, this is where I'm supposed to be. So when he says faster, I wonder if he means faster so we can function like a normal offense wants to function, or faster like we want to run more plays. I would lean towards faster so that we can function like a normal offense. But I guess we'll find out on Sunday. One of the big injuries for the Texans would have been George Fant. George Fant returned to practice, did a decent job at right tackle when he was in. Here is Demeco Ryans. You know he's not going to give you anything, but here's Demeco Ryans about George Fant.
Having George Fant out there, how much has that helped? So you could line up possibly on Sunday when you started the last game.
It's good having Fant. I think Fant will be fine. It was tough seeing him go down in the game, but he'll be fine. He's bounced back, so we'll see him out there again.
Oh, we'll see him out there again. Okay, maybe he gave us a little something. We'll see him out there again, like Sunday. I mean, that would be cool. Gus Bradley, defensive coordinator for the Colts. Here's Demeco talking about fellow defensive coordinator. Runs a lot of cover three.
The Colts defense, they're very sound. Gus runs a sound defense. They've been top 10 in their run defense for a number of years. There's one thing about them: they are going to be exactly where they're supposed to be. They're going to play hard. They're going to be a physical unit. They're going to play together. And they're going to make you earn it. And that's one thing that's allowed that defense to continue to be so successful. They have talented guys up front that can get after the passers. So collectively, like we had our hands full last week, it doesn't change this week. We have to do a better job up front.
We'll take a few more.
Did you want too much evaluating of Anthony Richardson during the pre-draft process? So what were your thoughts then versus where they got?
With Anthony, as I watched him in the pre-draft process, you saw a very talented young kid. I mean, he was a playmaker, big-time playmaker, made a lot of explosive plays at Florida. He's a tough guy to bring down. You saw that on his Florida tape, right? And you saw a kid that also has a lot of room to improve, and you've seen that growth over his tape now, being with the Colts. And I think he has the talent, right, to play in this league. That's the one thing you want to see. He has it, and he has dynamic playmaking ability.
How has it been bringing Tank into the regular season? Obviously now with Noah on the IR, where is he in the offense? Is where y'all want to go into game plans week to week? How does he fit in the future?
Yeah, Tank fits just like he's done before. I mean, you'll see Tank get more snaps, but Tank has done a good job of what he's been given. He's made plays for us, and we expect to see the same thing this Sunday.
That's Demeco Ryans talking about a lot of things heading into the game. Going to be interesting to see how this whole thing shapes up. It'll be really nice if George Fant is there and they don't have to shuffle too much on the O-line. I think we'll be keeping a close eye on the safeties tomorrow and what that looks like with the practice report, et cetera. The Anthony Richardson thing is interesting. Is it an advantage getting to prepare for Lamar Jackson and then going right to another mobile quarterback? A lot of good stuff from Demeco Ryans. Let's hear from the quarterback, though, CJ Stroud. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup for CJ Stroud. I actually do wonder, and I'm going to talk to Kevin Bowen, who covers the Colts on Friday. And I wonder if CJ would have been the guy had the Colts had their pick at 4. I do wonder that. Was it always going to be Anthony Richardson? Was it just hey, we're going to draft a quarterback no matter what? I do wonder that. I mean, there were reports that Tennessee was looking to perhaps trade up for CJ Stroud had he still been on the board at 3, which is why the Texans essentially would take Stroud and then trade up to get Will Anderson if they wanted to take the quarterback. So that's kind of that package theory. But I do wonder, if the Colts did like CJ Stroud. Let's hear from the previously mentioned quarterback for the Houston Texans, number 2 overall pick, CJ Stroud. There have been times where NRG was a tough place to play. There's been times where the vibes have been good, but let's be quite frank. Been at every game pretty much the last decade. The last couple of years, the atmosphere has been kind of trash. Here's CJ Stroud talking about what he wants to see his first game as a Houston Texan in Houston.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I know this is my first regular season game in Houston, and I can't wait to see everybody show up and be loud, man, and hopefully be quiet when we're on offense. But no, all jokes aside, man, I'm excited to finally try to stamp something special in Houston here that we've been working really hard, and I'm excited to see everybody come out and support. Because we need them, just like they're wanting us to be great. We gotta hopefully they come out and be great for us, being loud and being proud. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, you need it. I mean, you need good vibes, and you need to win this game on Sunday to keep those vibes alive, because games in which you're favored are going to be few and far between, and you need to win this game. It's a must-win game on Sunday. That's my theory. I think there's a number of reasons. I think it has to do with who you're playing. You're playing a team. There's no excuse of, we're young, we're building. They're doing the same thing. They've got second dibs on the 2 most important pieces of a football team, arguably the head coach and the quarterback. I think this team is good. I don't think this team's trash. I do think, though, sometimes losses can spiral, and I also think wins can lead to more wins and more confidence. So if you win this game that you're supposed to win with people wanting to buy in, I think it's good. I mean, I'm a guy who I've been doing this stream for about a year now, never taken any days off. I've done it daily. It was painful at times last year. So I'm out here in these streets. Like when you people are feeling bad about the Texans, I'm feeling just as bad. It sucks. It's not fun. It's not as fun to talk about. Something you have to do. It's a job. You don't take any time off. But it sucks. And they know how bad the vibes were. They need to get those vibes going. You don't want to be 0-3 honoring JJ Watt. You want to be maybe, 2-1 or 1-2 or whatever, and looking 500 straight in the face. That's why it's a must-win game. Some people take that too literal and they say, well, what do you mean by must win? Like, I think there's a difference between a win or go home and a must win. I think a must win is basically, if you want to reach your full potential as a football team, there's certain games that you got to have. Now, can you overcome those circumstances? Sure. We saw the Texans start out 0-3 in 2018. And they ended up going 11-5 or whatever the hell it was. But you kind of knew what the deal was with that squad. So, yeah, I mean, do I think Demeco should be fired if they go 0-2? No. Am I still going to believe in Demeco? Yes. Am I still going to keep doing what I'm doing? Yeah. I mean, but I think sometimes you got to take advantage of opportunity. I think this is a big opportunity for the Texans. I don't think there's any justification to lose this game because I think they're good. I don't think they're trash. I know that right now on the ESPN power rankings, they're second to last. I think the defense is really good. I think Will Anderson's really good. I think once they get healthy, they can be a good squad, and you got to win games like this. So that's why I think it is a must win. So we'll see how it looks. This theory was brought up today on Sports Radio 610. It got pretty funny. So this was during Crosstalk. Payne and Pendergast, by the way, 6 a.m. Listen daily, 6 to 10 a.m. on Sports Radio 610. Seth Payne, former Houston Texan, he took the term "must win" pretty literal. It was one of the moments today on Sports Radio 610. Here was the must-win counter, I guess you could say, and we'll react to this.
John Lopez, Landry Locker, jumping in studio. Landry, I'm a fan of your must-win take on this game on Sunday.
Yeah, and it wouldn't. It's as much about the opponent as anything. It's not about hey, they can't afford to lose. It's not even. I'm not saying it's going to downward spiral. I'm just saying the losses will pile up. You don't have a first-round pick. You could actually be looking 500 straight in the face because Pittsburgh's kind of depleted. You don't want to be honoring J.J. Watt in front of an 0-3 squad, and we could say, well, the Texans are rebuilding. Colts can say the same damn thing, and you got first dib pick at quarterback and coach, so you got to win this game for vibes, among a lot of things.
Were you a well actually guy to him on that?
Not as strong.
Okay.
That's my co-host John Lopez. Sean Pendergast is talking. You'll hear Seth Payne come in, and this is where the disagreement over must win begins.
Came around.
Not as strong. I said while I agree with the premise, I'm just not a must win guy. I mean,
I'm all about keeping the enthusiasm level high. It's been such a drag the last few years.
The thing with must win, it's kind of like a guarantee. It's like, okay, must win if or what. Like if you don't win, then what? Like if you're guaranteed, like, okay, if this fails, is it a money back guarantee? Is it a replacement guarantee? So I guess they must win or else what?
See, here's I'll just pull back the curtain. There's a couple of things. First of all, I just talked for a minute and explained why. And I said that the sky wasn't falling. I didn't say I was out on the Texans. Personally, I don't think Seth was listening. I think he's had a tendency at times to kind of not pay attention, specifically in the last segment, to where I don't know if he's on his computer. I don't know if he's like talking to a text or whatever, but I just explained for a minute what I meant. I didn't say the sky was falling. I didn't say fire Demeco. I didn't say I was out on the Texans. Like I clearly said that. Second of all, let's not take everything so literal. Like and I'm not arguing semantics. Like Christian says, I'm arguing semantics. I'm not arguing semantics. I'm laying out what I want. It's the going literal is the semantic part. So I'm saying what I just laid it out. Like I literally just laid it out. Why I think this, and I don't know. I don't think that he was necessarily listening to what I was saying. And then we got the literal, what does must win mean?
Yeah, it's a money back guarantee.
So like you're out on the Texans if they don't win this game.
No, I mean,
literally just said no on that like 90 seconds ago.
I'm not out on the Texans. I don't think it spirals. You could try to say that they could go 15-2, but games that you were supposed to win at this point are few and far between. I think there does need to be some progress over results. I think this is just a really, really good.
I meant progress over process
Opportunity.
It is.
So they must win it or else.
Yeah, let's get literal, Seth. Exactly. Yes, that.
They must.
I think they need to shut down the. I think they need to shut down the season. Is what they need to do.
Although you made a pretty big point about saying it's a must-win game, so
yeah,
I'm trying to take it seriously.
Yeah, or else we just need to cancel the station. That's what we need to do.
No, like honestly, like must-win or what?
Money back guarantee.
Okay.
All right. That was Crosstalk, brought to you by D&M Leasing. You're listening to KLT and KLT HD2, an Odyssey station. Antibodies to Seth. Gentlemen, In the Loop starts now.
Sean is so funny when he disagrees. It's all love though. It's serious, but it ain't that serious. But yeah, I do think the opponent, etc. I've kind of laid this out. I did a whole video on this, so there is that. I mean, it's the literal stuff. Like if we're going out to eat and like if we're driving in a car and someone says I need something to eat. Am I just supposed to like hit park and say, you need it or what? Are you going to die? You need something to eat? When someone says you need some sleep, you need sleep or what? Are you going to die? Like, come on. Win or go home, must win. Let's be serious. We know what this is. Come on. Let's be for real. Shout out Payne and Pendergast, 6 a.m. Central on Sports Radio 610 here on In the Loop on Sports Radio. It's not In the Loop on Sports Radio 610. I saw Tyler Milner and I thought about it. Yeah, we're not shutting down the station. But yeah, I think it's there. And Balin's with them. Shout out to Balin, Mr. Literal. Saying must-win game in week 2 is kind of crazy. I'm explaining what I mean by it. I have expectations for the squad. Again, the world isn't falling. If you want to be literal about everything, then you're not going to get anywhere in a sports discussion, especially. But yeah, that's just what it is. Clarence, say what you mean. You say must win, but don't take it literally. That don't make no sense. It should make sense. You must win, or else the losses spiral, and you're in a position where you're facing 0-3, and wins are few and far between. So say what you mean, or you got to take it literal. Okay, so we need a score here. If you're saying that on when you're watching the game, you're just taking that literal. That's some weird folks around here. Will Anderson, I asked this question earlier today. How good can Will Anderson be, and how good will Anderson be? It is a must-eat game. I agree with you, Glenn. Appreciate everyone in the comments. My thing with Will Anderson is, and I think this is a good exercise to do, because when you talk about rookies, you don't necessarily want to get too far ahead of yourself. You can, especially when guys are taking that high, and especially when they're added to like bad rosters. But if I asked you, and I'm intrigued to get this in the comments. We're about 250 deep here at 10:32 Central. So I appreciate all the activity in the room. If I asked you to power rank the Texans' top players, like the best players on the Texans, and list them 1 to 5. Let's just do a top 5 list from 1 to 5. Where would Will Anderson be on your list? And let's keep in mind, Will Anderson had a 31% pass rush win rate, which was 4th in the league. He had 6 stops, which is the most since 2016 for a rookie edge guy. And I think he had 6 tackles or 6 pressures or something, which is the most since Nick Bosa and Josh Allen in 2019. So if I asked you to list the 5 best Texans right now, the 5 best players on the Texans, and again, this could have as much to do with not having a great roster, where would you put Will Anderson, and who would you put ahead of Will Anderson? Tunsil is in the discussion. Where would you put Will Anderson? I'd put him at 1 or 2 already. I already think Will Anderson's better at his position than Jalen Petrie. I think you can have the discussion about Laramie Tunsil eventually, although I'm not going to jump too far ahead there. I don't think there's any receiver that's as good as him. I think he's better than Dameon Pierce already. I think he's better than any of the offensive linemen. I think he's better than any of the tight ends. He's better than CJ, better than any of the other D linemen. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't think he cools off. So where do you put Will Anderson? 1 or 2? That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of 1 or 2. And I don't, Petrie, Petrie had a lot of tackles last year. He had some interceptions. I think he's a good player. But I would take my chances on Will Anderson. I think it's only going to be better for Will Anderson. I also think the guys around him on the D line are very, very good complementary pieces, and they've done an excellent job of taking guys who started last year and kind of platooning him. He was talking about how impactful Jerry Hughes was for him and Jonathan Grenard. So I would put Will Anderson. Victor says he's not better than CJ. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think there's a reason that Will Anderson was the top guy on their board. Now, they took CJ first. A lot of that has to do with the price of trading up for a quarterback, I think. That's my theory. That in the midst of, and we actually had a video on this before, in the midst of arguing between the two guys, they said, hey, why can't we get both? You could take the quarterback first because the price to trade from 12 to 3 for the D lineman is less, but Will Anderson was the top guy on their board. I don't think CJ is better than Will Anderson at this point. That's not a knock on CJ. I just think, when you're doing stuff for the first time since Nick Bosa did it, and you're doing stuff that's never been done in franchise history, getting a sack in your debut, and you have the 4th best pass rush win rate in the NFL as a rookie against a good offensive line, I think Will Anderson is, I think he's up there. So it's a discussion, but I think the overall theme based on the comments, I appreciate y'all coming through for the comments. Be sure to come through with the likes as well. I don't know if I like this Terminator nickname though. I don't know if it's hitting. Does a Will Anderson Terminator nickname hit? I'm not loving it. 51's growing on me, which I never thought would happen, but I'm not big on this Terminator thing. But let's hear from Will Anderson. So he was actually at the podium on Monday. We actually reacted to that and had this video earlier today. So some people, I guess, weren't there for the podium. So they had Will Anderson speak in the locker room. So he had to speak twice this week. Let's hear from Will Anderson and hear what he has to say heading into Indianapolis.
Yeah, we take big pride in that. Both sides work together. You know what I'm saying? It's just not a one-sided thing. Offense has been doing a really good job of trying to get better and figure everything out on their side of the ball. And we're just here to support them, you know what I'm saying? It's all one collaborative effort, and whatever we got to do to help the team out, we're going to do it.
Will, what's your familiarity with Anthony Richardson?
I know he's very athletic. We didn't get a chance to play him when he was at Florida. I think he had a hamstring at the time, but no, he's very athletic, has a big arm, and can run out the pocket.
Well, in addition to the athleticism, his size is an issue. As an athlete, man, what kind of impresses you about that?
Yeah, he's huge. He's like almost the same size as us, you know what I'm saying? I think it'd be a great challenge for us up front. I'm just saying, containing him, keeping him in the pocket, not letting him run all over the place. It's going to be really fun.
And how much of it is everybody? You always hear that everybody's got to get to the ball with a guy like that.
Yeah. Oh, you hear it every day. That's one of the biggest things that Coach Demeco harps on. We all swarming to the ball, all the leather hats to the ball, no matter what it takes.
Is there a guy that can be him in scout team?
We have a lot of great guys here, a lot of great teammates. Everybody's just doing their role. You know what I'm saying? Coach is going to put the best looks out there for us to get ready for the game. And we're just excited to have our first home game, have the fans come out, and everybody get to, cheering and everything like that. So we're super excited about that.
Specifically, what do you think about that you guys have this opportunity to play in front of your home fans, get them kind of energized with what's happening around here?
I think it's a big opportunity for us, you know what I'm saying? Like starting to change things, starting to change the culture around here, get the city back hype. I think it's a good chance for us to go out there and show, we're capable of doing that. We have the team to do it. Guys are super excited, and, we're just ready to go out there and play in front of the fans, you know what I'm saying? And we just hope that we can get all their support and love and everybody cheering, everybody staying to the end of the game and, just giving us all the support that we need.
Pass rushing is more than just physical. There's a lot of thinking that goes into that, and you can't have just one move, two moves, three moves. You got to know when to use and how to use them. What are coaches telling you now that there's some film on you around the league of what you need to adjust on and add to your game?
Yeah, to be honest, from all the great pass rushers that I've talked to, they always say, you don't need a whole bunch of tools. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a whole bunch of pass rush moves. You just keep the moves that you use, keep using those moves and keep getting better at those. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned so far when I've been in the league. I watched Jerry Hughes, I watched Rank, I watched JG, D-Riv, all those guys. And all those guys do a really good job of just perfecting the moves that work for them. And they don't deviate from their rush game plan.
All right, there we go. That's the TV guys, man. I like the tempo of the TV guys. Those guys just they know how to get right to it. Shout out to all the TV dudes in town. A lot of talent in the TV department in H-Town. Will Anderson, I think he's going to have a really big day. I'm predicting multiple sacks for Will Anderson. I think it's going to be I think it's almost going to be like when you're in the on-deck circle when you have the donut on your bat and then you put it down, it's easier to swing the bat. I think chasing around Lamar Jackson, going from chasing around Lamar Jackson with that offensive line to Anthony Richardson with the Colts offensive line, I think it's going to be a little bit easier for him, to say the very least. It's like when you're drinking beer and you start out with that double IPA and then you decide you kind of want to work your way along the tap, like when you're at the bar. If you're like me, you kind of like to work your way along the tap. You get that IPA, boom, little heavy, maybe a 7-8 point brew. And then next thing you know, you're going to a nice little smooth blonde or something like that. I like going from like a double hoppo to a Love Street. I think that's what it's like going from Lamar Jackson to LaFar Jackson, aka Anthony Richardson. That's where I'm at. I think a couple of sacks for sure, or at least 1.5. I think he's definitely a double-digit sack guy. I think Demeco is going to use him the right way, and I think this is going to be the coming out party. And I don't know how many of y'all are going to be out there. If you're tailgating, get at me at Landry Locker on social medias. We'll be out there like we always are. But if you're tailgating, let me know. Shout out to the tailgaters of the year last year, Grill and Meat tailgaters. Shout out to Nuff Said tailgaters. It'll be interesting to see what the vibe is like out there, and it'll be interesting to see if they can keep the vibe going when it comes to how they figure stuff out. I think Will Anderson. I think he's already one of the top 2 players on this team, and I think how good can he be? I think he can end up being one of the best Texans that they've had. I think he can end up being the face of this team. I really, really do. I think he's the ultimate game breaker that they have right now. And I think if you look at the way that the rookie class looks early on, we really haven't got to see what Tank Dell can do. Maybe you see him unleashed with the Noah Brown injury. Henry To'oTo'o is already starting. Will Anderson's already making a big impact. CJ, you like what you saw with him. Might not be the weapons in place for him to fully reach the potential you want him to reach, but the rookie class looks good. But I think 51's the best of them all. That's just where I'm at. Still not in on the on the Terminator nickname though. Although I did like Seth's explanation. Shout out to Seth and Sean. They'll be on the air here in like less than 7 hours. So shout out to them. Also going to have a player on, so be sure to lock it up. Stute said Lamar is Dr. Pepper and Richardson is Dr. Thunder. That's a good one. I think that's a good analogy. That's why me and Stutes are such good friends. He's really good with the analogies. Did y'all ever have? I feel like this is about a 20% hit rate. Speaking of Dr. Thunder and Dr. Pepper, did y'all ever have anything like called Dr. Slice back in the day? Because it was freaking awesome. And for some reason they got rid of it. It was basically like a Dr. Pepper cherry, but it was like, man, it was sick. I don't even, there's 2 drinks they got rid of. And this is for all my millennials out there. You, all my Gen Z crowd, which by the way, y'all make my day when y'all come up to me when I'm out there at the game or in the streets or whatever. I'm serious. If you're one of those young bucks, those young heads, I had high schoolers coming up to me at the draft party. You guys make my effing day, man. That's a good ass crowd to have. And I know this is kind of a younger crowd, but millennials might know what I'm talking about. Dr. Slice and lemon ice Gatorade. I don't know why they got rid of that lemon ice Gatorade. That was a damn shame that they got rid of that. They got like 68 Gatorade flavors now, and they got rid of the best damn Gatorade flavor that they had in lemon slice. Lemon slice was so sick. It was clear. It was almost like a lemon lime, but like perfect, like texture and all that. Man, that was nice. I don't know why the hell they got rid of the damn Dr. Slice and the lemon ice. Damn shame. Tyler talking about Surge. You are definitely a Surge guy. Tyler's on that caffeine diet. So every time I see Tyler, shout out to T-Mill, one of the hardest working dudes at the station. This dude shows up And Tyler's part of the reason that we get most of the audio. He does his thing. This dude's either chugging an energy drink or he's like chugging a 5-hour energy before he goes up. But he gets there. He gets to the station incredibly early. Getting a lot of La'el Collins stuff. I like La'el Collins. I think you should look up his girlfriend that like case at the draft. Her name was Throatzilla, or the girl that he knew. They couldn't unlock her iPhone. And that was why he went undrafted and ended up going to the Cowboys. But he played left guard for a little bit early on and then moved to right tackle. I don't know what his future is. Sometimes, guys on the back end, they move inside because they're not as quick, especially if you've been through injuries like La'el. I don't know how close he is. I know he wasn't on the active roster for the Bengals, but I like La'el Collins, especially as an option at left guard. I don't know how the Texans would feel about it. I don't know how they would think of it. I don't know how close he is. Dalton Reisner's another name. But I'm all about La'el Collins if he can play and if he can play soon, particularly at left guard as long as Kenyon Green's out and you're having to play, some of these journeyman guys. I don't know how they feel about it, though. And I don't know what the hell's up with Reisner or what the hell he did. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. To reset all of the news, you got a new depth chart, new starter at linebacker. Henry To'oTo'o is the guy. You got a very crowded injury report. However, sometimes veteran off days are Wednesday. Tomorrow's injury report will tell us a hell of a lot more, specifically with like names like Tunsil and Robert Woods appearing on it limited. We'll look into that a little bit closer. It could be really interesting if those guys are on it again tomorrow. They could be limited participant or something like that. So let's keep eyes on that. Hassan Ridgeway goes to IR. Look for practice squad elevation all over the place on top of the guys they already got. Noah Brown goes to injured reserve. What does that mean? Does that mean that they're unleashing Tank Dell? Could we see the debut of John Mechie in front of the home crowd? Because Mechie was back on the practice field. Who knows? A lot of questions and a lot of excitement. And again, don't let anyone minimize it. Don't let anyone question it. This is a must win. Don't let literal Larry sit there and question the literal Larry type of thing. NF says I pooped on his La'el suggestion 3 weeks ago. He just got released. And he wasn't even, I don't even know if they could trade him at the time. He just got released. Of course I pooped on it. I think we're getting the same punter. I don't want to talk about that. I don't even want to talk about the punter. Don't bring that up to me. Yeah, not even gonna acknowledge that the punter. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Be sure to subscribe, like, ride along. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans daily digital content. A player straight off of the practice field tomorrow on In the Loop, Odyssey app, Sports Radio 610. Also going to talk to Doug Vosick, the business guy. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm going to ask him how pissed off he was about the Tank Dell news, and he's going to have to give the honest answer there because there's no way the business department was thrilled about that. We're also going to Brandon Scott making his debut back. Shout out to my man B. Scott, 11 o'clock. Know a lot of you guys like hearing him. But be sure to subscribe. Please like, ride along. Fun times, baby. Must-win games. Good vibes. Let's eat. We're all in it together.
If it's up, then it's up. We #1. You don't need to check it up. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize. Every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city, too.